Tuesday, October 8th, and I am standing on the shores of Stormy Lake in Restoule Provincial Park. And Mason and I are here for 2 nights. We're just here for a fall camp to get a taste of the fall feeling and check out some of the colors. So we'll be heading west about 8 kilometers or so directly into this headwind, and then camping at our campsite there for 2 nights before returning back to this location 2 days from now. So that's the plan, and I better get started before this wind blows my camera over. Okay. Camping on Stormy Lake at the westernmost campsite on this lake. And in fact, when I was making this booking, I was thrilled to notice that there are no other backcountry campers anywhere on this lake for the next 2 nights. So I'll have the lake to myself, although the lake is plenty large, and I don't think anyone else being here would bother me at all. It was a chilly put-in today, it's 6 degrees, and it's about an 8-kilometer paddle to my site, directly into a headwind, which is being channeled perfectly through this narrow corridor that I'm paddling in. But I expect to be at my campsite in the next 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then I'll work on getting set up and getting camp arranged in such a way that the wind isn't such a factor. Campsite dead ahead. I've arrived at my campsite on Stormy Lake, and despite the fact that I was battling headwinds all the way out here, where I am right now on the site, there's hardly any wind at all. Now, this site is located on a point, and the other side of the site, which is the windward side, has just as much wind as I was facing on the way up here. But the leeward side here is down a bit of a hilly slope, and there's not a lot of wind here, which is great. So the living area with the fire pit and the picnic table and my tent, hopefully, won't get blown around too much over the next couple of days. Rain and higher winds are in the forecast for tomorrow, so I'm happy to have a defensive position at this site. Anyway, it's time to get the tent and the tarp set up, and after that, we'll see what happens. Well, after getting to the site and getting set up and walking around and doing some shooting and exploring, I was suddenly exhausted. Probably because I got up at 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning to make it here at a reasonable time. So hopped in the tent for about an hour and a half and just rested my eyes, listened to the wind, snuggled with Mason, and now it's 5:30 and it's time to get serious because it gets dark earlier and I've got a little bit to do. Prepare Mason's food, prepare my dinner, get a fire going. So it's time for all that. So now that I've had my little rest, it's time to get cooking. Dinner's all finished and dishes are done, stuff is away. And good thing, because it's only 7:30 and I mean, I can't even tell where the tree line ends and the sky begins. That's how dark it is, and it's 7:42. So the days are definitely getting shorter. And it's not too cold either, which is nice, because when I came in this morning it was around 6 degrees. And tonight I think it's supposed to go down to -1, and it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. But it might. So anyway, we're ready for that if it does. And I don't think tonight will be a late one, but I am going to sit up for a while and put something in my cup and enjoy this fire and look out over this blackness and just listen to the sounds of the woods until I can't keep my eyes open anymore. So that's the plan. Right, bud? All right, time to get something in the cup. Good morning from under the tarp. Around 7:30 now, and it rained last night. Not a downpour, but a steady rain, and it's continued through into this morning. So pitter-patter under the tarp and droplets out on the lake. Nothing ferocious, but enough to get you wet if you're standing out in it. Anyway, this weather is supposed to clear up for later this morning, according to the inReach. According to the inReach. And if it does, that'd be great, because I've got some exploring I want to do around here. But I'm still in coffee number 1, and coffee number 2 awaits. So I'm really not in a hurry. I'm just going to take my time and wake up with the day and hope that things clear shortly. Mason's here, also under the tarp, anxiously waiting his breakfast. Well, it looks like the rain might have finally stopped, and it's around 10 a.m. now, so I'm hungry. I'm about to get started on breakfast. Sitting under the tarp for the past couple hours was lovely, but I've got a bit of a chill in the hands, and the temperature feels like it might have dropped a couple of degrees as well, so probably best if I keep moving around. It has been, however, a very silent morning. Besides the crows, I haven't heard the sound of another living thing, not even a red squirrel, which is kind of remarkable. But then again, it is, mid-October now, and, the seasons are changing, so I guess the patterns of the animals are changing as well. Anyway, going to get started on breakfast now before the rain makes a return, and then see what the rest of the day holds. Looks like that sunshine from earlier might have been a bit of a head fake. Just had another front roll through with rain, just as I was starting to explore the area around the campsite. High winds, rain, back under the tarp. About 10 minutes later, now we've got sunshine. Still a bit of rain happening alongside it, but who knows what's coming next after this one. It looked like dark clouds, so I think that's the order of the day. Some systems are rolling through, so I'll get out from under the tarp when I can and then hop back under as needed. Woke up from a nap at around 6 p.m. and we're coming up on 6:30 now. And, you know, today's been the strangest day for weather. After I went in the tent, I think I counted 4 separate fronts come through, each accompanied by big wind, moderate rain, and then followed by a splash of sunshine, and then repeat. So all in all today, there it is again, it's starting to rain again. So all in all today, there's been about 12 different fronts that have come through and just made everything wet. Anyway, what isn't wet is this incredible bit of hardwood that I found back in the forest. Piece about 14 feet long, yay thick, and listen to this. This is just some of the densest hardwood I've had my hands on, and looking forward to burning it later tonight. I mean, it was so dense the saw was protesting going through it, but I've got it all bucked up now, and it should make for a nice fire tonight if the rain can hold off. Okay, gonna get dinner organized, Mason fed, and hopefully do it between the raindrops, which have now returned. Dinner is done, and dinner is mashed potatoes and steak tonight. And last night was supposed to be steak, but it was frozen solid when it came time to put it on. So I ended up just having the short ribs. It is finally stopped raining, but it is getting quite dark. It's after 7 o'clock now, and last night it got really dark by 7:22, I think. So I'm gonna finish up dinner quickly, and then I'm gonna pack up whatever stuff I've got left out and get my food in that bin for safety, and then I'm going to put some more logs on these fire, put my feet up, fill my cup, and enjoy my last night here in Restoule. Unfortunately, last night's hardwood fire was cut short by rain. So I was in the tent by around 9:30 or so, and maybe a couple more showers throughout the night, but certainly nothing dramatic. Got up at 7 this morning and thought I'd light a fire to take some of the autumn edge off this morning. Staring out onto the lake, I did see some mist, and at the end of the lake I did see some storm clouds, but hopefully they're heading in the opposite direction that I am. So next step for me is to get some coffee on the brew, and then think about breakfast and getting Mason fed along the way. Well, I'm all packed up and ready to go. It's time to head back to the put-in. And wouldn't you know it, the nicest day I've had since I've been here is today, the paddle out day. But truth is, I knew what I was getting into. The weather forecast for yesterday was changing by the hour before I came on the trip. And in fact, this was one of those few trips where I almost didn't come, having still packed all my gear and got all my food. It was just sitting there on my living room floor, and I was thinking, do I really want to go camping in all-day rain? Well, as it turns out, the answer is yes. Although it was all-day rain, it wasn't torrential, persistent, but not torrential, and taking refuge under the tarp was still lovely. I got to enjoy the fall colors and the sounds of the wind and the sound of the diminishing population of birds in the forest. Spend time with Mason and enjoy that hardwood fire, which was just magnificently hot, burned forever, and, you know, I never really regret coming out on these trips, good weather or bad.
So that's going to be it for me. I'm going to launch the canoe, load up, and make my way back to the put-in. Thanks a lot for coming along on this short there and back trip. We hope to see you on the next one.